All right, let's see. Let's wait for the audio to come up into YouTube. How is the audio? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you know what best? Meanwhile, anyone can join. Everyone is welcome. I had a stern talk with my wait, let me turn off the echo. Oh no, I need to test it. Hold on. Let me plug it in. Oh, where would I plug it in? Oh, there's nowhere to plug it in. I only have two USB entries in this computer. Well, that's not good. Uh, Remove the keyboard. Okay, let's see if this is any better. Let me. Um, we are to switch the audio source. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. No, it doesn't. Hmm. Yeah, I think it's much better audio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we need to also switch the speaker to USB audio device. Let me see if it's switched. Hasn't switched yet. Waiting to switch. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, let's maybe close this. It doesn't seem like it's closing. Switching. Audio. USB audio device. Hasn't switched. Let me take off my AirPods. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's maybe disconnect the Bluetooth. Disconnect. Yeah, switched perfectly. Okay, so we have good audio. I can reduce the audio. All right, I think we're in good shape. Let me put my AirPods away. My AirPods go away. Done. Now, let's go to Discord, see if there's anyone there. So Discord, Storm on the level. Let's see if these guys are any good. Let's see.
The audio of a film with my songs.
The score. You want to do the score for a movie.
Is that what it's called?
Oh, look, Mr. Slave. Is that the real Mr. Slave?
Yeah, but I'm muted.
Oh, what the?
He's back again?
Yeah, he's back.
Everyone has
Wait a minute. Server mute. There you go.
I was going to warn you guys that he's back, but I figured he won't come around here.
Yeah, he's got streaming live on his thing now. Look at
yeah,
that.
streaming live. Yeah, the other day someone just muted me as soon as I said hello.
What, round here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you
I
just
think
unmute.
were we live? Was it while we were streaming live?
I don't know why they just muted me as soon as I stepped into
Yeah,
the
I'm
room.
saying, was it when we were streaming live? When we were streaming live?
Oh, it might have been, but
Yeah. So you might have been interrupting, like while we were already streaming.
I
Going over a topic or
guess.
something.
I guess. I didn't know. I'm not too good with Discord. Anyway,
Where have you been?
where have I been? I took a
Yeah.
break. Yeah, I took a break. I had a lot on my plate,
Okay.
so I had to deal with life, and I'm back. How is everyone? How are you, Bev?
Fine, thank you very much.
That's terrific.
I thought you'd disappeared. I thought, you'd give up.
No. I told it's on my. If you went to my channel, you would have seen the last message. I explained that I'm taking a break, and I kept, updating once in a while that I'm planning to come back.
Right? Are you coming back now? Is this the big one now then?
No, there's
Or
no
is
big
it
one.
much of
No.
the same sort of thing?
Yeah, it's the same. I'm seeking the truth, seeking to sharpen my understanding of the truth.
Nice.
Yeah.
How do you deal with contradictions?
What do you mean? How do I deal with contradictions? I don't know. Give me an example.
Yeah, I'm trying to cook my tea at the same time here, so
That's okay.
yeah, we've been doing a thing about contradictions, and we were doing last night. Like,
Okay.
do you believe that there are contradictions?
What do you mean? Do I believe that there are contradictions? I don't
Like
understand the question.
Obviously within mathematics, right, there is a law of non-contradiction.
Wait a minute. So, when you say a law,
Yeah.
what is that?
Within mathematics,
No.
right, you can't contradict yourself, and that's how you can come to proofs, right?
No.
Definitive answers
No.
because of things like this.
No. When you say law, what do you mean by the word law? Law of mathematics. What does that mean?
It means that it's a rule that goes through mathematics, right? You cannot contradict yourself within mathematics.
No, that's an example. But what do you mean by law? Like, what
I mean,
happens?
law, like you cannot do it.
Wait.
Otherwise, it's not mathematics, right? It's a law within mathematics that there is no contradictions allowed. Obviously, it works in debate, but the question is,
Mm-hmm.
do you have that sort of rule for reality, or do you allow for contradictions within your own schema?
I have to, I'd have to see an example. Like, what's an example? I guess, I mean, the answer is if I seek the truth, if the truth happens to contain contradictions, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm open-minded to seek the truth, whatever it is. I mean, what is a contradiction? Right? I mean, what is it? I mean, let's take an example of a contradiction. Like, 1 + 1 = 2 is a true statement and a false statement, right? These seem to be contradictions, but they're not, because to say that 1 when you use the word one, well, you haven't defined it yet. And if you try to define one, it's a very vague. I mean, at best, you're always going to come up with some vague understanding of what is one in the English language. What do you mean by one? It's not really clear. As hard as you try, it's never going to be complete. It's always going to be a little bit vague. What do you mean by one? Is this an example of one? Like one? So if everything is vague, so you might end up with contradictions because it's vague, and the whole thing is unstable. Like, you think math and logic are these rigorous constructs, and I don't think so. I mean, math and logic depend on the English language, and the English language is a social construct, and it's self-referential because every dictionary is self-referential, and any definition that is self-referential is invalid. So the whole thing is invalid. So you have nothing. So you have to accept the fact that you cannot have a 100% absolutely rigorous toolkit called logic and math. You cannot have it. And that is the truth. And you have to realize the truth, and that's what I'm here to seek, the truth. And that is the truth. The truth is that
But can you find truth if there's a contradiction? Because obviously the truth could be not truth if you allow for a contradiction within truth, right?
Right. So as we proved with 1 + 1 = 2 is a true statement and a false statement. So as soon as I start analyzing the statement 1 + 1, and as soon as I start using the word one, and as soon as I start thinking what is one, and we were indoctrinated into the ritual of 1 + 1 = 2. So
you keep going to one. Let's not worry about one and the definition of one.
Okay.
But if you're after the truth,
okay,
and you allow for contradictions, then you can have truth being not truth. And if that's the case, how do you find truth if truth can also be not truth? Because you can find that wherever, can't you? I mean, you could just contradict a not truth to make it truth.
right.
If you allow for contradictions.
Right. So you have to realize that you're using language, and language is very flimsy. It's a social construct, it's self-referential. So your whole edifice, your whole construction of logic and math depend on some human language. And human language is utter nonsense. It's just dogs barking. It's unstable, it's flimsy, it's not rigorous. And when you say the word contradiction, what do you mean? I mean, the word contradiction, like all words, we were indoctrinated into these words, and we never really understood them rigorously, and we cannot really understand.
It's something being both that and not that.
I understand.
At the same time.
I understand, but everything
Okay,
you're
so
saying.
now we know what a contradiction is.
No.
Don't say it's down to language. It's because it's not really.
No.
Do you know what that is? I mean, that's not really a language thing, is it? That.
It is. Of course it is. And we were indoctrinated into all these words, and we never really.
To that?
To every word, of course. You weren't born knowing what the word.
Yeah, but isn't that sort of like a pointing thing where you point to that?
I
but that's not a language, is it? Because like you're pointing to something, you're saying that is both that and not that.
Yes.
At the same time. So
Right,
what's not that then?
right, but that's fine. But when you point at something, that's also a social construct, or you could argue that it could even be embedded
Well,
genetically.
give us the argument then.
What do you mean? It might be, I don't know.
You said it could be argued.
Yeah.
What's the argument?
I'm saying it could.
What's the argument that you would make
What?
in order to argue it?
What do you mean that pointing at something is a social construct?
No, you
You-
said you could make an argument. Please tell us the argument. You're a
Argument for
debater,
what?
right? Traveling debater.
Wait, what? Argument for what?
The argument that you just said that could be argued against.
What okay, start over. I'm lost in the dialogue tree. Where are we?
Mhm.
You can start the discussion from zero. I have no idea where you are. I don't know what you're referencing.
Okay.
I
We
don't
were
know what you
talking
want.
about that and
Mhm.
not that.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
so
And you said it could be argued. And I said, brilliant. I love arguments. That's what we're doing with debates. What is the argument that could be made
I
so
made
that we could argue the point?
I made the argument. I'll repeat it. So the word "that" is just a word in English. And English is a social construct. It's self-referential. It's not rigorous. It's, it's like pointing at something, as you said, which is just a social construct. Or you could argue it is genetically embedded. Maybe but it doesn't matter. It's not really a difference between learning something and being born with the wiring in the brain that already has that feature. It's the same thing.
Okay, here's one for an example, right? Then, so you can understand where we are, because we were talking about this last night. We had a 3 or 4 hours chat about it.
Mhm.
Contradictions. Now, have you heard of a mathematical thing called perpendicular?
Yes, I don't have an issue with anything you say. I agree with.
Well, let me explain the contradiction, right? So you've got a perpendicular, and it's a relationship of one straight line to another straight line,
Yeah.
making right angles, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now, here's the problem.
Mhm.
That if you say, because vertical and horizontal are perpendicular, we'll say one line is vertical. Now, vertical can be no, it cannot. I can't remember which way around it was. Vertical cannot be perpendicular to horizontal, yet horizontal will be guaranteed to be perpendicular to vertical.
Okay, whatever. What's your point?
You were like that. Well, that's a sort of statement that somebody would make. And how would you deal with that?
I would obviously I'm familiar with the English language. I'm familiar with basic geometry, so I'm familiar. You're not saying anything new. If I would have
What
to
saying that
Mhm.
A is perpendicular to B, but B is not perpendicular to A.
Right, this is what we refer to as a contradiction, but it's
So
not
you
really.
can see that as a
Of
contradiction.
course. I'm just
Right now,
saying.
in reality, do you imagine that could actually happen?
No, I don't have the capacity.
So you don't have the capacity to allow for that type of a contradiction within your reality.
Yeah, I agree.
And your reality is pretty fucked up, right?
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Well,
I agree
know.
with you.
Yeah, I know. On that point, yeah.
Okay, so what's your point? I
Well,
agree with
that
you,
must be a
but
pretty simple, yeah. On that point about perpendiculars.
yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, but that's just social contract. It's just we've both been indoctrinated to the same ritual.
But that is logic, right? For the process that allows you to say that's a contradiction. What I just said about one being perpendicular to the other, but not being reciprocated, right?
Right. It seems to be a contradiction. I agree. It seems to be, yeah.
Good.
hmm
Yeah, at least like we are on a much better understanding than I've been talking to people who do allow for that sort of a contradiction. In fact, they state that's the case. Have you ever been talking to any flat earthers?
Yeah, I talk to everyone.
Yeah. Have you ever talked to any flat earth mathematicians?
No, but I mean, the question is, people say whatever they say, they have reasons to say it. Usually, I think flat earthers are just anti-establishment.
Well, this guy's a teacher.
That's fine.
So could you call that anti-establishment whilst
Yeah,
being in the
he might be.
establishment?
Yeah, he might be. Yeah.
What, for within the system?
Yeah, of course. That's the best. The best way to subvert the system is from within.
Yeah, he says the school's all right with it. So people might be
Yeah. It
coming
doesn't.
round to it. Do you reckon?
What do you mean? To
The flat Earth stuff.
It's whatever. I mean, it's just anti-establishment. It's just It's just to be contrarian. I think it's a reaction to the propaganda, the endless leftist propaganda that we're experiencing. I think most flat earthers are just right wingers, what we call, because it's just a reaction to the leftism. It's their way to fight leftism. It's
Did you
You
say?
think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Why would
going
you say
against-
that?
I mean, statistically, I think you could see it and you can understand the rationale. They're just extreme anti-establishment. Leftism is super pro-establishment.
When you say statistically, where are you getting these statistics from?
My personal experience. My personal
Oh,
experience.
have you got a chart or something?
No. It's just my.
Do you do bar graphs?
No. It's just my
How
intuition.
do you do your statistics?
I just do it intuitively.
Statistics.
I do it
like off the top of your head.
Intuitively. It's just my experience, and it also makes sense if you think about it.
Hey, if I may, can I add a couple data points to your experience, and maybe you change your idea?
It doesn't really matter, but fine. I mean, I'm not. I don't like using actual data points.
Well, I mean, hypothetical, right?
You
Let's say
freestyle shit.
you've got a right. Do you think Trump was right wing, or is Trump left wing? Is he liberal or conservative?
Somewhat conservative. Somewhat.
Okay, when he talks about making America great again, do you think he's talking about, say, the space age, 1960s?
60s, 50s, I guess. Like
Okay.
like Eisenhower post World War II or something.
Yeah, and then do you know that he came up with a sixth branch of the military called Space Force?
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
Okay, so would you think then liberals would be pushing back against this sort of make America great again, forward thinkers instead of backwards thinkers,
I mean,
and pushing back against the advancement of the military?
Liberals don't like countries. They want one world government. They want equality. They don't want borders. They want a strong United Nations. Right?
Is that statistics as well? Did you get that? Or
no,
are you speaking?
I mean,
are you representing them when you speak?
I don't represent anyone.
Liberals?
That's when you think
it
about it.
Sounded like you were representing liberals just then.
No. I can certainly
It sounded like you did.
No, I can understand their point of view. It's childish to believe that. Like, they believe that government is good, that a strong government is good. That's why they want strong police, and they don't want anyone.
When you talk about they, right, it sounds again like you're talking for them.
No.
I think you're a little confused. Are you talking about like neoliberal or classical liberal? It seems like you're interchanging them back and forth.
No. When I say liberal, I mean like Biden voters. people that vote for Biden as opposed to people who vote for Trump.
Okay, so like a
do you
neo.
vote for Biden?
No, I didn't vote for Biden.
You're Canadian, right?
No, I'm American.
Oh, okay.
So when you say you're talking for the people that vote differently than you, you're talking about the beliefs of the group of people that are different than you.
Correct. Yeah. I don't think that a one world government is beneficial to myself, or on statistically, I don't think it's good to have a one world government. I think competition is at the heart of the success of success. So it's better to have small countries competing, and it's good to have alternatives. So if you're unhappy in America, you can move to England or to China or Singapore. You can move to other countries. Different countries should have different law systems and different economical systems, and you should be able to move around. And so competition is very important, and one world government is the antithesis of competition. So that's not as good because it might not be optimal. The one world government might not be optimal. But if you have a competition between countries, then you have variation, and you have more of a chance of getting an optimal solution to a government and legal and economical framework. It's just it's like don't put all your eggs in one basket. So statistically, it's always better to diversify your portfolio. That's why it's good to have countries and
Is
not.
that off the top of your head statistics again?
No, everyone agrees that it's not good to put all your eggs in one basket, right? Would you put all your
Is
eggs?
that statistic? Is that statistical?
I mean, yes. If statistics is just experience.
I mean, if I was coming home from the shopping, right, the eggs would be in the basket. Like,
if all your eggs are in one basket, I think.
Yeah, I don't separate them to move them home. Like when I'm moving eggs, the eggs that I have, I don't like hold some in one hand and some in the other. They're all in the same bag usually.
Right, but the S&P 500, I think, is the most diversified, what do you call it? Index. It's the most diversified index, and in the long run.
I thought it was like a hairdryer or something.
No, it's the hedge is built in because it's diversified. It is hedged against itself, so it's the most hedged because it's the most diversified. I think it's the most diversified. Anyway, that's why it is the best performing index, and it is the best performing index. So that's evidence for
financial advice.
Not financial advice. This is as far as I know. I mean, it's just the best performing index. So you could say it's just correlation. It just happens to be. Yeah, it could just be correlation, but it's evidence that diversification performs better. So not putting all your eggs in one basket is diversification, and statistically, as we see from S&P 500, it's a good idea. So that's why one world government is statistically less optimal compared to different not one world government. Anyway, so I think liberals, Biden voters, are wrong in that respect, because they are for a strong one world government, one police, everything is one. They don't like one health system, everything is one, and that's terrible. Also, we saw this in the Soviet Union. I mean, when there's no competition, the system decays and it's suboptimal.
No, I don't bother with any of that news stuff or anything.
What do you mean? Like what?
I don't like anything you were talking about then.
Wait,
because
you
you
want?
were talking about liberals. That means nothing to me, that.
Okay. So what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I was just wondering, you were telling us what this group of people, I know nothing about what they think.
Oh, okay.
So do you think you gave an accurate representation
You
of
know,
that group?
I hope so. I don't want to misrepresent anyone. I think they would agree with my definition. And
That's
I
a
think
good
they
way
would
to put
agree
it.
with my psychoanalysis of what motivates them.
Wow, you did a psychoanalysis of motivation.
I mean, I used to be a leftist, like all of us. In the beginning, you start as a leftist. As a child, you're a leftist.
Again,
Then
look, I don't know. I don't
I
know what
think,
you mean.
I think a lot of
What do you
people.
mean leftist? I'm definitely right-handed.
How many children have you asked? And would you believe the answer that they gave you as a child? I mean,
I don't
seriously.
even know what a leftist is.
Children don't have any political leanings.
Right,
They're learning about the world.
right, but children have a simplistic view of the world. They haven't had an opportunity to listen to a diversified portfolio of ideas.
Is
So,
that leftist?
they're leftist.
So
Yeah. Young people vote left in general, and older people vote right, as far as I know. It's the same people. As they mature, they shift to the right. As they become more knowledgeable, more, as they talk
have
more.
do you just spend all your time reading statistical analysis?
No, I spend zero of my
No,
time
he
reading.
does it himself. He's never read any. This is just his personal statistics, but he never actually draws any graphs or anything or takes any polls. He's just sort of freestyling it, right?
Yeah, I don't read. I
Mhm.
don't read, and I barely
this
talk
is
to
your
anyone.
He's a big fan of Socrates.
Okay, so this is your personal opinion
I don't know
on
anything
the
about
way the world works.
I don't know anything about Socrates. I don't know anything about him.
Have you not even seen Bill and Ted?
No, Bill and Ted.
This is not.
No, I
Hang
don't
on.
see. I
So
don't watch
this is your personal opinion, or this is not your personal opinion. Which is it?
everything.
Because you didn't
every-
answer.
No, everything is my personal. Everything I say is my honest personal opinion.
And you have nothing to like back it up with. So every time you state such and such, that's just your personal opinion.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, just so we're clear.
Any further questions?
Is that what you came here for? So we can ask you questions? I thought you were a traveling debater
I'm a
on a comeback tour.
I'm a truth seeker.
Yeah, but
If-
you've already said that you allow for contradictions, so truth can be not truth. So I don't see how you have the ability to seek truth if
Yeah,
truth can be
how do
not
you-
truth.
How do you know when you've got the truth?
Are you a
How do
truth
you know-
debunker?
How do you know when the truth you were seeking? How do you know when you get it?
I guess it's when you minimize your contradiction, the self contradictions in your theory of the truth. I guess when I say I'm a truth seeker, I'm seeking a theory of everything that minimizes self contradictions. Maybe. Never really thought about the definition of truth, but maybe that's.
So you're looking for a theory of everything.
Yeah, a theory of
Why?
everything. I'm just defining truth. I think truth is a theory of everything with minimal self contradictions. That's like my.
Yeah, but you were saying you want the theory of everything. You want to know everything. Why?
I'm curious. I'm curious about this universe. Curious about myself.
Yeah, and there's curiosity, and then there's you, as you said, you want to know everything.
I think that's just the definition of curiosity. It's just wanting to know.
Well, where do you start? Where's your foundations?
And also, I don't think you can actually specify everything for that. People are curious about all sorts of things. They're not curious about everything.
Yeah,
Curious about
that's
everything.
an impossibility of knowing that.
No.
Why not? Why can't I be curious about everything?
What even
I
the
didn't
stuff that you
say-
don't know about.
I didn't say you couldn't be. I'm just saying the way you generalize everything, your personal opinions, the way you make it sound. So I'm just clarifying for the people listening.
I'm curious about everything. I don't have anything that I'm not curious about. I'm more curious about things I don't understand yet. Things that I do understand, I'm less curious about. Things that sometimes something seems to be in complete contradiction to my current theory of everything, and then I'm really curious about it, and I can't sleep until I resolve it. Once I resolve it, it becomes a little bit boring. But I've been able to resolve many contradictions, and I'm happy with how I understand everything. And that's and I'm here to share my gained knowledge and maybe hear new ideas that I didn't yet think of, and new. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I'm always open-minded to completely rebuild my entire theory of everything. But for now, I'm happy.
So if you can keep rebuilding your theory of everything again,
Mm-hmm.
when do you know that you've got to the point where you don't need to rebuild anymore? You have the truth that you were seeking.
I said that it's, when I feel that the self-contradictions in my theory of everything have been minimized. I'm always trying
Okay.
to. Mm-hmm.
You're still using theory of everything. So to me, that's everything. So you've sorted everything out. Either you have or you haven't. Otherwise, stop talking about the theory of everything and actually stick to specifics.
I don't understand your qualm about my. It's a famous term that many people use, theory of everything. It even has its own acronym, TOE. TO, right? Theory of everything. Anyway, it's everybody talks about the theory of everything. It's even Einstein was working on a theory of everything. Stephen Hawking was working on a theory of everything.
So what is the theory of everything if it's not the theory of everything?
What do you mean if it's not? I mean, obviously,
I
it's.
I don't know why you had an issue with it.
What's the question?
Here, can I try? Could the theory of everything be the theory of everything and not be the theory of everything at the same time?
We discussed this already. That, I mean, it is because language.
Could the theory of everything be contained within the theory of everything, or does it have to exist outside of the theory of everything? Does the theory of everything exist externally to everything, or is it internal to everything?
Look, the theory of everything is just the simplest explanation to everything. What? I'm not following the problem.
Is there some sort of a formula or something, or?
I don't know. Maybe I haven't come across.
How far have you got then?
I'm kind of happy with where I'm at right now. I think, that's why I'm on Discord. I'm open-minded to hearing where I've gone completely wrong. But
Well, what have you got so far then? Well, give us an explanation on your theory of everything? It'd be short, right? Like a hypothesis.
I
How is
think,
it? How did your theory express itself?
I mean, I think I've already expressed it many, many times. It's the theory of everything. I mean, you have to first understand that there's no, we don't have access, or objective truth is unknowable. Any
So your
objective,
theory of everything starts off with, we can't know anything. That's not a very good
objective,
start.
we have no access. By definition, we have no access to objective knowledge. It's a definitional limit, because the way,
you're not going to get there then, are you?
well,
If you're limited by definitions, and then, I mean, they normally start off with, well, that's how you start off with things, definitions.
right,
The terms, right? You come
Right.
to terms, but you've
Right.
already decided that that won't work. So it is your theory of everything starting with a language that is feasible. Is that where you start? How far have you got with that?
I mean, I'm starting with language, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
starting.
but you said the language that we have is no good. So do you start a new language?
No, I'm just
You make do
saying
with
that.
what we've got.
What?
You make do with what we've got then.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with the imperfect languages that we have. That, familiar with a few languages, and I'm satisfied with these languages. I don't think we can improve on on languages. Languages are social constructs, self-referential, so they are not rigorous. And logic and math are built on language, so logic and math cannot be rigorous. So you make with, you do, how do you say, you make with what you do? You do with what you make.
What's the long language of math then?
What's the long language of math?
Well, yeah, you said math and logic are built on language. What is the language of math?
Math and logic are built on language, and language is a
What
social.
language is that?
Any language you choose. Right now we're speaking English, so if we would construct logic and math.
That's not what. No, that's not what makes maths. English doesn't make maths.
So how would you communicate? Okay, so how would you?
That's what I was asking you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was asking you that. You said there was a language for maths and logic, and I asked you, what was it?
Math and logic are expressed using a human language. And a human language is a social construct, and it's self-referential, so it's not rigorous. So math and logic are not rigorous.
This is boring. You keep going over the same thing. It's like you're repeating the same thing over and over.
I don't understand the question, maybe.
Yeah, because you said that math and logic are built on language.
Yeah.
Right? Well, what language is math and logic built on?
So I'm saying, if we were to start from zero and define math and logic, since we're speaking English, we would use the English language in order to construct math and logic. So math and logic would depend on the English language.
I've got a different understanding.
You don't understand what I just said?
Yeah.
All right.
So off you go. Like Saragaki says, off you go. Go on then. How do you define math and logic within the English language? Please define.
How do I define math and logic within the English language?
Yep.
Right, like the word truth is a word that you could, define in math and logic and math, but the word truth.
And how would you do that then?
But the word truth, Right, but the word truth is just a word in the English language, which is
Well,
a social.
define it.
That's not what you. That's not what we're doing. I mean, I already I
You
answered your
said no,
question.
you were meant to be defining math and logic. But we could start off with truth, seeing as that's what the goal is, right? For math and logic. So how do we define truth within the English language as it pertains to math and logic?
I
You
would.
said it was.
This is a different topic, but fine. I mean, we've already been through this. So, the way I define truth is a theory of everything that minimizes self-contradictions. I think that's a good definition of truth.
Minimizes. So you
Yeah.
are allowing for contradictions then? A little bit.
I'm allowing for whatever. I cannot a priori limit myself if I seek truth. I have to always be open-minded.
To
That is
contradictions.
to everything. I need to always be open-minded. I think this is the foundation of the foundation. I mean, you first, before anything, you have to always be skeptical. And the skepticism gives rise to an inherent uncertainty in our understanding. So if you accept,
I'm skeptical of you, what you're saying.
I don't have access into
I wouldn't really
your
call it
mind.
skeptical. You have access into the minds of liberals. You were telling us what they were believing earlier. You seem to have your mind accessing a lot of different
I don't
groups of
think
people that you claim not to be.
I
So
don't know how
you don't
much
think.
you are skeptical of me as opposed to how much emotionally you are belligerently struggling to reject my theory of everything, my truth.
I don't even know what your. Well, you've said that truth is possibly contradictory, and you can't define it within the English language, is what you said, even when it was mathematical. And you can't really define your theory of anything because I don't know what you've said. Like,
I
I don't
did.
think you've even.
I've defined my theory of
I think you
everything.
might have imagined that you did, but
I said my
it didn't
theory.
come across. It didn't make it across that bridge.
My theory of everything is a simple explanation that minimizes contradictions. A simple explanation of all my experiences that minimizes self-contradictions. That's my
So
truth.
your theory of everything is only what you've experienced. Your theory of everything doesn't involve everything.
Correct, but that's always true by definition. I don't have
So it's
access.
just really your worldview then, right? I mean, that's already been done.
What do you mean
Hasn't it?
that's
Like your worldview, that's what you're looking for. The word that you're after.
I
Is
mean,
you're
that's
wanting to try and communicate your worldview, except you've taken language out of it. You have a problem with language, and language is imperfect for you. It's not the way that you use it. To you, it's the fact that the language is broken, not the ability to use the rhetoric or whatever.
no, it's not the look. When we were born, we did not speak English. We therefore must have
I
been
can't remember that time.
I'm saying so. We must have been indoctrinated into the language of, let's say, English. We were indoctrinated just like you're indoctrinated into any ritual. So language is
Isn't it more of an ability to communicate with the people around you, the language that you pick up? I mean, because no doubt there are people that have got multiple languages.
But if you think about it, each word is just a ritual, right?
No,
You were shown a
I've
car,
never thought about that. That doesn't sound right to me.
right? But you saw a
The law
car.
of identity, grammar.
Wait, hold on. Let's think about your early childhood experience. So you saw a car and your mom said car and you repeated car. That's a ritual.
But that is a car, right?
It's a ritual. This is the
But
ritual.
it was like an identity thing, right? It was defining what the car was, right? That now wasn't the car, because there are many different cars that fit in that category. But I mean, that's a handy sort of tool for you to learn as you're growing up,
Yes.
right?
What's
Especially
what-
early years.
Why are you calling it a ritual? Like, what's
If
your
you-
definition of ritual?
What's the definition of a ritual, right? You're shown a certain performance and you're expected to repeat the performance. Isn't that a ritual? So every word that
Do I
you
really have to go and look it up for you?
okay. So I mean a ritual learning
A ceremony in which the actions and wording follow a prescribed form and order, the body of ceremonies or rites used in a place of worship or by an organization, a book of rites or ceremonial forms.
yeah.
What's ceremonial about a kid pointing to something, and his mother telling him what it is?
This is a ceremony. You can view it as a ceremony between two individuals. It's a ceremony. You could view it as a ceremony. You can categorize
But you
it.
would put it in the same category as someone standing there doing a ritual at an altar.
Yes, exactly.
Why?
It it falls directly into the category. I know it's difficult to
No,
believe.
it doesn't. How? How in your mind do you get those two as being the same thing?
That's just, I mean, I first heard it from Karl Popper that's how he defined
Oh,
science.
okay. So you didn't reach it by yourself.
No,
So you didn't go out doing a secret
I mean, I was
for
listening.
yourself.
Well, I was listening to a YouTube course on philosophy of science.
When you were a child.
No, this was a few years ago. And
Okay, so
the
you've
course,
already gone through this and you thought, oh, that reminds me that when I was a child and I was talking to people, I was constantly performing rituals.
it's
And
not a
ceremony.
it's
Is
not
that
that
what you're doing in here? It's like,
Yeah.
as we're communicating now, are
I'm
you
now
performing rituals?
Well, I'm now quite interested in his upbringing.
Yeah. Well, I'm wanting to know now whether he's actually performing some sort of weird ritual on us.
you could view it as a ritual. You could view any human interaction as a ritual.
Yeah, you do. You see, he does think it's a ritual.
I mean, you could view any human interaction as a ritual. You can view any human action as a ritual. If you really
It seems like you can. I can't. I just have.
It's a
communication
specific
with
part
people.
of human nature. Right? It's not all
Exactly.
of it. Yeah, a part, not
I think
all.
if you think about it, I think what a human is, what the brain is, which is, my work, my line of work. So
I really
You
hope
do
not.
brain
For the
work.
sake
He
of
does.
humanity.
I'm just, that's just my line of work. So
No, this is everybody. This is why we're in the world we are today.
He's a
Okay.
brain scientist.
anyway, so that's how I view the human experience or every animal. You could look at an amoeba eating like a piece of food, and you could say that's a ritual. Why is it different than any other ritual? These are all
Why is
animal.
that? Why is that? Actually, nowhere in the definition does it say that something consuming food to survive is a ritual.
even wanting to survive is just a ritual. I mean, you can,
Oh, what?
yeah, you could view the molecular.
Going to the toilet. I need to go to the toilet just a minute.
It's a
Let
ritual.
me go and perform my ritual.
You're going to the toilet ritual, exactly. This is, yeah. I mean, people like everything we do again and again.
This is why
or-
the definitions of words no longer mean anything, people.
It's a very deep understanding. What I'm telling you is not just a game of words. This is an incredible insight over many years of my, of being of meditating on the nature of things, on the very, very foundations. This is, it's not just a game of words. You maybe, I don't know, if you don't accept my theory, then, I think you
Would you
have
say
Mhm.
would you say driving a car is a ritual?
Yeah, you can view any action, any time to.
Or could you not view that as that's how the car works?
Yeah, you could view it as that, but you
Like
could.
to drive the car, you have to work it.
Yeah,
That's how it works. There's no
yeah,
ritual involved. That's just how it works.
but the way I see it, even two atoms
Oh,
interacting.
there we go. There we go. There's the important words. The way I see it.
Well, I don't have any knowledge of this universe except for the way I see it, so I can always have a prologue to every statement I ever make with the way I see it. That's implicit. This universe is, it exists only as far as I know. I have no other knowledge. I
So
don't.
if I said to you, the universe exists,
You'd be lying.
I've just given you some extra knowledge there. How
No,
weird.
no, that's a lie. You have no
I,
access.
I'm lying.
Yes. What's
Yeah,
your
but if
evidence?
you can work out that you exist, why can't I work out that I exist? How come that? That's not fair. That seems rather sexist.
No, so if you say the universe exists, I'm assuming you mean objectively, not subjectively.
I'm meaning it like you meant it. Exactly the same as you meant it.
Wait, so when I say everything, it's only between my ears. Everything I know about this universe is in my mind. This universe is just my psychological experience. It's my personal experience. It's
But the
completely
universe
subjective.
is there. The universe is there,
Excuse me?
whether you think about it or not.
I can't
Isn't
hear
it?
you.
Yeah, you're a bit garbled. He said the universe is there, whether you think about it or not. Yeah, there's other people. There's also
Well, I have no knowledge of this. You have no knowledge
you
of it.
don't have any knowledge of other people.
What I'm
Of course you
saying,
do. You're talking to other people right now. I presume you do a YouTube stream for other people.
Got a strange idea of knowledge, though, right? Obviously.
all right, I'm actually out of time. It's been a great discussion.
Good timing.
Yeah, we'll continue another day, another time. Thank you so much for this lovely discussion. It's been really amazing. I enjoyed every second. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, and you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good time.
You too.
And
Bye
Welcome
bye.
back again.
Thank you.
It'll take off this time.
Thank you. Thank you
You
so
watch.
much. Thank you. Bye bye. All right. I have to shut down this stream. So everyone have a great rest of your day, I guess. See you later. Bye bye.